But also, I think the one thing that we should be kind of really intentional about is making transformation clear. You know, like it's all good and well when these policies are made in boardrooms with people that understand the frameworks and how they work and how they translate to transformation to, you know, the person at the end. But if the person at the end, the one that is supposed to be receiving this transformation, is not really clear about how is it that they can access it, then it creates an avenue for those middlemen who will then blur the lines against that transformation. Whereas you get people selling information that should be readily accessible. You know, I totally agree with you. When it comes to transformation, it has to be intentional, but it also has to be clear. When was the last time you saw a BOQ? But Lufuno, do you think that BOQs are easy to understand? For real though, Lufuno, but not everybody has a quantity surveyor. Let's talk about a level one. A level one won't have a quantity surveyor, which is also a great conversation on the fact that, okay, what warrants being a level one? Does it mean that you have to go to school, finish your quantity surveying degree or diploma, and then kind of become a level one? Or anybody from the market can just come in and be a level one and navigate the industry? Yes. Okay. Don't you feel like sometimes then by making the BOQ so, I'm not even going to say it's so hard to understand, that we are pushing away real talent, like the artisans in the industry? I'm going to take you back to ESCOM. Why did you stay so long at ESCOM? Because you've moved like throughout your career, you've bounced from municipality to thinking, but when we look at your trajectory, you really stayed at ESCOM. What is it that made you stay that long? But then you were exposing yourself to such a better understanding of just, you know, like the business itself.
Into the groove.
Thank you.
I'm well, I can't complain.
You look good. Where are you coming from? Today you're not in a suit.
No, I'm not. I was not in church.
Why not? Why did you not go to church, Lufuno?
The day had too much.
Is it?
So,
yes. Let's get it started. At least we had a little bit of chemistry call where we could kind of figure out what we were doing and what we wanted to talk about. So I think it was a great first attempt. Let's put it like that. And yeah. So I think, you know what I want to do today, Lufuno? I think today I want us to frame our conversation around infrastructure. Definitely infrastructure, but I'd like you to think of a young man that's coming into the industry, and from what we're going to talk about, his perspective and what can help him kind of navigate the industry. Obviously, you've been in the industry for a while. I really want you to take me through your intention behind how you started. So from the time that you left high school to when you were choosing what you were going to do, take me through the decision of wanting to be a quantity surveyor. That Lufuno, how did he get to that decision?
Thanks, Pilile, for the question. I think one must acknowledge that part of the journey, some parts are driven by intentions and some are driven by coincidence.
Okay.
So it's not everything that one planned step by step and say at this time we'll be here, at that time we'll be there. But the desire to be involved in infrastructure development, yes, definitely. It came from a number of things. One, backlog of infrastructure from the communities that we grew in.
Okay.
We always wanted to see ourselves contributing into changing the prospects, water, roads, facilities, primary facilities that are required. Social infrastructure, if you can call it that. So when we were growing up, that quality of infrastructure then was a trauma for somebody like myself. We picked up that desire, but obviously we were lined up doing the right subjects. Coincidentally as well, they were not really chosen by choice. But you know, when you were growing up, everybody says, yeah, do maths and science, you know?
Yeah.
Do maths and science. And others,
be something. Yeah.
others are trying to drag you to the side of accountancy. but eventually what won was the side of technical studies. And here we are, I would say largely in the built environment. What I gravitated towards became project management over time. Although the
Okay.
entrance point into the industry was quantity surveying, but ultimately project management, which helps one to have an overview of the whole multidisciplinary landscape of infrastructure.
I get you. And I think it brings us to the question of are all quantity surveyors meant to be project managers? Is that the right line of passage, or is it just how you wanting to kind of understand the entirety of the project? Is that the lineage of quantity surveying? It goes on to project management. Does everybody's path kind of go that way?
No, not really. I think the driver there is a character of a person.
Okay.
Or there are people who would love the numbers, to sit all day working on them, analyzing them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then you've got these extroverts like the person you are talking to now, who would do the numbers and stand up and want to greet everybody in the passages and go to the workstations of other people. And then by the time he goes back to the computer, he has only done 5% of the BOQ. So that person then gravitates towards engaging people more than
True.
doing the numbers.
True.
Although the
True.
love of the numbers will remain, but the character sends us away to engage disciplines, if you can call it that.
Fair. So you move from varsity and your first job. What are you thinking? Or are you scared about how was the time then? Was it easy for you to transition straight from varsity to you kind of getting that first foot in the mud when it comes to just the construction industry?
Yes, I think I was quite fortunate.
Nice.
And I do know that it's a struggle. That transition from being a graduate to the market, it's a challenge, but I was quite fortunate. I had an employment opportunity waiting for me while I was still
Ooh.
studying.
Okay.
One was fortunate. It doesn't mean you were brilliant than others. We were just fortunate to have the people who had interest on us getting it right. So I think that they managed that transition.
But it also means that there's something that you must have done in varsity that would warrant you that opportunity. Because yes, we can say that some things are beyond our control, but there are also things that we can do to catalyze our journeys. So that would mean that in varsity, you were probably part of some leadership organization that kind of put you in the forefront and got you that screen time with people that could potentially employ you. Is that what happened?
Yeah, yes. And I want to send you something as we speak.
Okay.
That somebody retrieved some calendar of the time that we were student leaders, and I was quite interested on how did he, because I thought those calendars were lost.
Okay, let's see.
So I in student leadership, and then and this calendar, please don't laugh, because it looks like a calendar that was retrieved under someone's bed. So I requested a
No,
clean version of that. And I hope I will get it someday. Let me get it to your WhatsApp quickly.
okay, it's not that
You can
guy.
zoom
It's
it.
not that guy. Oh my God, you look so different. Deputy General. Okay. Nice. So you've always
You can
been
deal
a
with my
person.
age, then that's okay.
No, so how does a yellow bone from Limpopo end up in construction? How, like when I look at you and everything that you present, you are a religious man, a man that respects religion. You are part of the built environment, which puts you in a position of, always being tempted, especially the way that people navigate the industry. We are the poster child for a lot of things that are not really ethical. How is it that you keep your integrity in an industry, especially as a leader? You were the president of SACPCMP. How do you keep your integrity as a leader and while also being able to navigate the business in a way that is beneficial to you. Because at the end of the day, like, in as much as, yes, we are leaders and all of that, but you still need money at the bank. So how do you balance? Is it possible? And how do you balance it? Because some people think it's not
it
possible.
is possible. It is possible. I have a good sense of belief that social capital is a currency on its own. The people you are exposed to and those that you hang around with more will inform to a larger extent your conduct. And of course, the built environment on its own is guided by a number of things. Part of that is also your ability to socialize with people, and you must be able to choose the circle that you are socializing with. You then get to learn the rules of the game and still win within the right circle. You must have good mentors. You must have people who have walked this journey before you, and they've been those people. So it's possible to be in the built environment, be ethical, maintain your integrity, play the game correctly, but then also understand the side of business that is called business development. The softer and the harder part of it. The greater component of that is people. And you are able to also filter when you meet the people that are going to change the trajectory, either to the better or to the negative side.
It's nice hearing people and leaders speak about integrity and construction, like in the same sentence. We hardly have conversations.
Yeah, and we must not be naive. We must also acknowledge that the built environment, it's a challenge space, because remember, in it there are various components. There are hardcore, there are contractors, there are professionals, so one has to understand, how do I deal with various stakeholders in the industry. We do have a problem of how the industry is structured now, but it can be addressed by professionalization more than anything.
But when you say they're going to vanish, you act like we need to understand how deeply, like, when it comes to like the culture of being unethical. I think it, as you're saying, it would be naive of us for us to not understand how deeply entrenched it is into our culture. Like, our culture as an industry, I understand sometimes, like, when it comes to like new entrants, because it's easy for us to sit here and talk from middle and top. Entrants are, they want that first project, they need that first project, but the gatekeepers, the unethical gatekeepers, are the ones that kind of are the barrier lines between that. So when it gets to a point where, like, for instance, for a person that is navigating the industry, if the first project you got was unethical, it's easy for you to adapt to that culture. Let's move to Gentech. What created the fire where you were like, you know what, actually now it's time, Lufuno's the guy now. I'm at a point where I've established myself enough in the market in order for me to be able to dive out on my own. What are the things that you felt like you had going from corporate to entrepreneurship that kind of helped you navigate the transition? Because that transition is not easy, going from a paycheck every day to like chasing invoices. It's not a easy transition. How did you do it? So now you move now. You are president of SACPCMP. Take me through that decision to lead such a big organization, and be the face of it, because that's what you were. Was it something that you wanted to? Was it always something that you wanted to do, or did it kind of just land on your lap, or were you fortunate?
It was not something that I sat down and planned to go there. I was invited by the industry and nominated by the few who had a belief that I could contribute. And I will forever be grateful to them. And also those that I worked with who elected me from a pool of team members and consider me a leader to contribute. It was quite a good journey of learnings.
What event was it? But there was a conversation that got a lot of people very, very excited, where the conversation, it was basically around engineers and project managers and not doing dual roles, and people got very excited at that time. Why do you feel like that conversation created such a stir? Maybe can you give us a background of what you meant, and then why do you think it created such a stir?
So the discussion was around the role of various disciplines and whether there is one discipline within the built environment which is super than other disciplines. And it so happened that at that time, an example that was given was an engineer, whether an
Okay.
engineer can be an engineer and at the same time be a project manager and at the same time look at the cost components. And my response as a person leading the entity, I indicated that I believe in the role of various experts within the built environment, but everybody focusing on their scope defined by the identification of work, which is part of the legislation. A quantity surveyor must look at the numbers, the BOQ, drive the cost management of the project. An engineer must look at the design and ensure that it's implemented correctly. And a project manager must lead the team and coordinate the tasks of various disciplines. So I am completely and vehemently against an idea of one discipline being a super discipline in the built environment. I think that was the long and the short of that discussion. Others felt that there are things that have been done in a particular way for longer and they are refusing change.
Yeah.
And I was against that.
Do you think it's the reluctance of change? Because when we look at, obviously, like from back in the day, the built ecosystem is so much bigger and has so many components to it. And do you feel it's a matter of people not wanting to let go? Or could it also be a lack of experience? Could it be a matter of this is just the way that we've always done it? Maybe it depends per project. Maybe if a project is from this amount to this amount, then the engineer and the project manager should not be the same person. But if a project is from this amount or to this amount, they can kind of take that dual role because how small that project is.
So again, the clients have to help the industry to structure projects correctly so that it accommodates various disciplines. It's not only for delivery purpose, it's also for economic reasons, and it's also for quality control. It's also for conflict management. I have no sense of belief that a project that is defined by the client, designed and it goes to a spec and it goes to the market, there is no need for one discipline to play multiple roles. Everybody must have a place. Of course, if you're speaking about a construction of a house, that becomes a different discussion. But if it's construction of houses, then you must look into the team, everybody reporting correctly so that at the end of the day, it's various disciplines who are responsible for that thing or that structure that would have been delivered.
Fair. What is the most strategic lesson that you learned from being a leader at SACPCMP?
It's to learn from everyone.
Okay.
Give a room for people to participate. You are not leading them because you know better than them. You are leading them because they chose you. So at the end of the day, just like a soccer team, you can't be a striker and a goalkeeper at the same time. Even if you are a captain, you are a captain because there are those you are playing with. Give them a room to lead, give them a room to participate with the expertise that brought them in that table or on that table at the first place.
Fair. And it was so clearly outlined by I've had obviously a couple of interactions with you as the leader of SACP and CMP, and I think that's why it became such a great time for you and an understanding of the whole ecosystem and giving everybody a chance to speak and giving everyone comfortable room to be able to help you kind of lead the organization. And you did it so well. You did it with so much grace. And I've got a feeling we are going to see you somewhere leading again. Do you have any plans of leading something else? I know you're going to be a doctor soon.
No, the plan is to sit back, reflect and learn from some of the things we did right and where we made mistakes, to reflect and also see how to address those mistakes so that as and when the country will call on us to participate elsewhere, we are better than what we were or how we were framed at the time. So I wouldn't say I'm going to be seen somewhere and I'm running somewhere. I'm sitting back to learn. I'm sitting back to reflect. And if that reflection helps to do things better elsewhere, I will be available to do that. But it's not a an assignment that I'm engaging on to say I need to go somewhere and lead. No, I will be grateful if preferred to lead somewhere. I'll take it with grace, but in the meantime, we do what we have to do. We engage the industry. And if other spaces of the industry prefer us for one reason or another, we'll see, take a challenge and move.
Okay, fair. You are going to be very fortunate in that endeavor.
Yes.
I'm sure you will. Okay, let's take it back to the youth. How is it as an infrastructure specialist navigating the construction industry? What do you think are the most important things to understand about the built environment?
I think for me, if I'm speaking about a young graduate who's entering the market, I would say they must focus on learning and learning thoroughly. Get the technical details right. There is always a temptation to jump the steps very quickly, and it's possible because they are young, the markets are maybe open for them because of qualifications and all the other positive aspects. But the problem is to jump so many steps quickly that when you find yourself leading in this environment, there are so many questions you can't raise because there are so many things you did not give yourself time to understand. And if you become a leader prematurely, you will also have to suffer for it as well.
Fair. You also are a businessman. You're also a project manager. What do you think makes a good project?
Various components. One is a good contract.
Okay.
That is intentionally compiled to limit disputes. The clauses are enough and clear to address various circumstances. When the contract is blurry, the various stakeholders don't know how to conduct themselves around it. And then the project will pick up variation orders, will pick up disputes that have to be dealt with for longer. There's lack of clarity around scope, assumptions of what to do. Clarity is required now and then from the design team. So for me, a good contract, because all those components I've mentioned, they are also a part of the package of the contract, amongst other things. And a well-estimated project as well, so that now and then we don't chop and change the budget to accommodate a lot of items that are missing, and a good team, of course.
What makes a good entrepreneur in the built environment?
So I must answer this question with a lot of reservations.
Why?
Because I myself, I'm not even sure if I'm a very good entrepreneur, except that it's also a journey of learning. But there are a few things that one may consider in terms of what makes a good entrepreneur. One is the exposure. Everybody is where they are because they were taught something by others.
Okay.
And I think the challenge we have is that once people arrive, in quotation marks, they miss opportunities to go back, give back, and teach others. A good entrepreneur is also taught, as much as others may argue that they are born. I'm not sure if they are born. I believe they are taught. The environment influences how they are going to be made up in terms of various component ethics, business acumen, and all those components. So for me, you also have to be open to a larger perspective that is not only about your profits. It's about how you impact the space. It's about the legacies you create. If you are driving on highways, you must be excited to see some of the structures that you participated in still standing and not collapsing like the problems we have now in the industry.
You want us to go and tackle another big topic about infrastructure and infrastructure backlog. I think that's probably something that we are going to touch on. I'm not going to take up more of your Sunday than I already have. I've spoken to you about a lot of touch points that I wanted to talk to you about. So I think I have more of a better understanding of who you are as a person, who you are as a leader, because I think this thing of leadership is your curse, my guy. It will find you. It will find you wherever you go. I'm sure you're saying you want to relax right now, but I think because of who you are and the fact that you don't want to sit at your desk. You know how you said earlier you didn't want to sit at your desk as a quantity surveyor. I think in every position you are that guy, and so you will always kind of attract a greater audience. and that's why you will find yourself in those spaces. But we enjoy you in the built environment. What's your plan for this year? What do you want to do now? You want to go full on entrepreneur out of the scope? I see you've been doing a lot of kind of speaking engagements. What's your plan?
So obviously what takes up more of my time now is Gentech consulting.
Okay.
Because don't be deceived, it's also still a baby in the bigger scheme of things. So
Yeah, fair.
that baby must be nurtured, to grow. And I'm not going to necessarily disappear. I'm trying to push back a lot of invitations so that I hear from others, I learn from others. But it seems like there are also those that are coming from or towards a personal angle that I may not be able to resist. Otherwise, I may be read as arrogant, doesn't want to engage, is refusing all the platforms to be in touch with the industry. So, but more time will go back to Gentech. Some time might go to industry research because one is also involved in other centers of research in the built environment in few universities in the country. So that will also go there.
Are you still lecturing?
Yeah, let's see if not necessarily directly lecturing now, but researching matters of the industry.
Okay.
And sit back as well and develop content that will be meaningful. The mistake that, or rather a mistake that many speakers make is to take a lot of speaking platforms without
True.
having time to sit and have content. Soon, the market is tired of you, you are repetitive, you are redundant, and all that. So one has to sit back and learn emphatically so that when you have to get an opportunity to speak, you have a contribution and you're not speaking for the sake of speaking.
Lovely, lovely. We were actually having a conversation with a couple of colleagues a couple of days ago, and they were asking me, they were like, oh no, Pilile, you've been so silent. Like, why aren't you speaking? And I'm like, because the point is not to speak all the time. Just because you have a platform and a voice does not mean that you need to have your mouth open, because at the end of the day, when you speak, you should speak from a place of understanding, but also a place of continuously learning. So if you're constantly speaking about the same thing from the same perspective and you're not taking time to actually kind of draw from the environment, you are right, you will become boring for real. So thank you for your time, Mr. Ratsiku. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. Are you going to do this for me again for maybe like in a couple of months, maybe like 6 months? We'll catch up again and let's have another session where we talk about a couple of things. I know that you've got there are a couple of things that are going to happen. Can you talk about the engineering? What is it? EGSA. Can we talk about it, or is it still under wraps?
Yeah, it's at its earliest stages of feasibility study, so not more is known as yet. It's about how viable it's going to be, informed by research, informed by benchmarking of where else is this being done, what value is it going to add in the built environment market. So there's still a lot of water to flow into the sea.
But it's definitely something worthwhile exploring, and I think we'll probably touch on it probably on our next chat, where we could actually have a couple of other industry leaders and we can have a nice panel discussion on the understanding.
So much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.